Welcome to the channel. Today's video is a little different than the usual, where I'm out on the trails or on the campsite, but it's related. Need some more ground clearance out of the camper. Last few trips, especially to Moab, ran into a lot of issues with about taking out the waste valve and then the cargo rack on the back. So plan on lifting that today. Currently in the garage. It's raining at the moment. It's supposed to quit here in a minute, but I need to get this done, so trying to push for it today. I went with the Dexter over-under conversion kit. So what that does, it just puts your axle underneath the springs. Right now they're on the top. So it puts them under the springs, come with your spring perches, which they say you don't have to weld on, but I'm going to weld it anyway just so it's more stable. Come with U-bolts, everything you need. So here's the camper as it sits right now. Pretty low. Get a tape measure on it here. Should be about 18 inches to the body. I'm only about 11 for the waste valve, so not very high up, especially when we try to get into remote areas, get away from people. Don't like staying in campgrounds, so be a huge benefit. But let this rain clear up a little bit. Need to get the camper jacked up on some jack stands and I'll get to work. Got it all up on jack stands. Got tires off. So here's what I'm gonna do. Be putting this spring, I guess the axle, underneath the spring. We gotta take these U-bolts off. Gonna drop one side of the shackle brace. Let the axle down, I'm gonna slide it out. And then I'll weld those perches on. Take this to the other side here. I gotta cut the wires for the electric brakes also. So I bet they're all shrink together, so I'm just going to cut here and then I'll put in a bigger chunk of wire. Looks like 12 gauge. So I'll do some splicing there once I get the axle back up in the air. But yeah, I'll get that pulled out, go from there. I'm gonna put a jack under this, undo just one side of these leaves and drop it down. All right, need 11/16 for this one. Got the axle jacked up just a little bit. Get this. Get that off of there. A little hammer for a tappity tap. Always put the nut on the back of the bolt before you tap on it so you don't damage the threads. All right, got this one off. I'm going to lower this. I'm going to lower this a little bit until it looks wonky on the other side. Oh yeah, bring it all the way to the ground. Okay. take these over to the other side. This ain't too bad of a process so far. All right, get this other side off here. Okay, let's see if I can do this. These axles aren't very heavy at all, luckily. Okay, set this down. All right, I did this side so the spring would hold that axles from rolling downhill. The plan actually worked. All right, get that axle pulled out, and then I'll start setting up the spring purchase, get it prepped for welding. Get some chocks for that would probably help. Get that as close as even as I can get it. That ought to work. So from here, take these here. They're just going to set like so. I'll get these little adjustment bolts adjusted so it's snug. Then I'll clean this axle up here with a grinder and then run a weld on each side of this. That way they stay in place. They say you don't need to weld it in the instruction manual, but they do say that it'd be better for stabilization reasons, so I'm gonna weld it anyways. I haven't welded since high school. It's been a long time, but bought a little welder for the garage today, so I'll give her a go. I was decent enough at it back then. I should come back to me like riding a bike, hopefully, but I'll get all that cleaned up and then get those welded on. All right, I'm gonna get these put on here, get them measured out. That way they're even. It's like a hair over 4 1/8 on that side. Hair over 4 1/8 on that side. That was lucky. And get that out. I'm gonna snug these bolts up, is what it says. Can't turn this side. There we go. So you want so it's seated on there, but you don't want it pushed up. You want it sitting on that axle. These are just to keep it stabilized. Plus, once I weld it, you don't really need them. That's got no side to side, so I'm going to take this off carefully to not move those. And then I'll get this cleaned up. I'll do the same thing to that side, just duplicate it. All right, got these welded up, painted. Don't claim to be a good welder, but they won't move. Now I'll get these wires extended here while that paint dries, and then it should be ready to slide underneath the camper. Made some pigtails. Made them extra long, so they don't be too short. But I can always tie them up if I need to. Rather have too much than not enough. Let's get this thing back where it belongs. These bolts have little ribs in them to keep them in place, keep from spinning. The other ribs are in this little bracket here. So make sure to line those up. Like so. And that nut should just pull it right through. Put a torque wrench on this. Make sure we're, setting 50. All right, that's good to 50. Okay. Now we're cooking. They're not perfectly centered right now, which they won't be because the other side of that axle's hanging down. How's that for alignment? Okay, that one's up. Like I said, they say you don't have to weld these, but it just kind of gave me that extra peace of mind that things were going to move around. We travel on some pretty rough areas, getting out where we like to camp. Last thing I want is something coming loose, especially if we get done camping and get out on the interstate. Be some bad news. Also says tighten these in a cross pattern, one corner to the other, so they're even. Go ahead and put the torque wrench on it. It says to put these at 70 on the top end. So that's what we're gonna do. Had it set for 50. Gonna pop it over to 70, 50, 60, 70. All right, good on this side. Tighten that already. Gonna give her a little visual once over. Everything looks good. I'm gonna hop over to the other side, do the same thing. There's the final product. Before I get the tires on, I'm gonna get the wires hooked up, ready to go. I'll go do that real quick. there we go. All wired up. I'll put a little clip right there to hold these in place, keep everything nice and tight. I just zip tied it to this side of the U-bolt. Kind of puts everything above the axle out of the way. But from here, I'm gonna slap some tires on. So just by looking at this, it looks like it's way too low for the tire. So I'm gonna have to jack it up a little bit. So I am completely off the jacks. That's how much higher it made it. Dang, big difference. That's nice. Definitely gonna have to upgrade the tires. They're looking pretty small now, but that's good. I'm gonna grab a tape measure and see what the overall difference was. I had a tape measure, here we go. So I gotta make sure the front and back are the same. We're at 23 there, which may not be accurate if this is higher. 25, you go down an inch to 24. Okay, that's close enough. 24. Remember the first part of the video, I measured from back here and I was setting at 18 inches. Massive difference. I took a measurement on a few things. Let's check them. So I had my waste valve. I was setting at 11 inches from the ground before. Move my jack out of the way here. Setting 11 inches. Now I'm at 16 and a half. My cargo rack was at 13. Setting at 18 and a half now. So huge difference. One more measurement. I measured the wheel well. I know there's no point in measuring all these, but I just want to see what they were. Wheel well. Setting at 34 inches now. 33 and a half, I guess. Whereas before, I was setting at 28. So 5.5 inches would be an accurate measurement right there. But man, what a huge difference. That's gonna be nice. I'll have to adjust my hitch on the Jeep. I got a weight distribution one, so I'll have to set that up different. All right, well, that's gonna do it for the video. I'm gonna get this mess cleaned up. It is an absolute disaster in here. But all in all, that was a successful project. I'll get on the road, recheck all the torques for the bolts I did, make sure everything stayed tight. But I guess the hitch set up, should be good to go. Yeah, good project. Really didn't take that long. My longest part was just figuring out the welder, so that was on me. But the project itself, if you either know how to weld right away or don't weld it at all, you could easily get that done in an hour, hour and a half, pretty easily. So thanks for watching. You guys want to know anything more about it or see the follow-up, subscribe, check out the channel. I know this is a lot different than my most recent videos where I'm not outside on the trails, but this has a lot to do with it, so this will help us go a lot more different places.